In the heart of a quiet Yoruba village, a young woman is forced into a humiliating marriage to a man believed to be mad, dirty, silent, and cast aside by society. But what if everything they thought about him was a lie? What if behind the madness was a secret so powerful it would turn the entire village upside down? This is not just a love story. It's a story of disguised destiny and the unexpected rise of a forgotten soul. Now let us dive in. In the heart of Aláìmọ, a serene village in Ondo State, young Adéjoke is summoned to the village square by her stepmother, Aláìmọ. The sun casts golden hues as villagers gather, their faces etched with curiosity. Aláìmọ stands resolute, her voice piercing the murmurs. Adéjoke shall marry Aláìmọ, the madman from the outskirts. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Adéjoke's heart races as she spots Aláìmọ, disheveled and distant, being led in. Aláìmọ, known to all as the Madman, walks with slow, deliberate gait. His clothes are tattered, hair unkempt, and eyes avoiding contact. Yet, beneath the grime, there's a hint of sorrow, not madness. The villagers jeer and laugh, but Aláìmọ remains silent. Adéjoke feels a mix of fear and pity. She recalls tales of Aláìmọ's past, but none explain his current state. The ceremony proceeds, binding two strangers in an unexpected union. Days turn into weeks. Adéjoke, now living with Aláìmọ, begins to notice peculiarities. Despite his appearance, Aláìmọ speaks with eloquence, reads ancient texts, and possesses artifacts of significant value. One evening, he reveals his true identity. Olatunde, the heir to a vast fortune, who chose to live as a madman to find genuine love and escape the trappings of wealth. Adéjoke is stunned, her perception of him forever changed. With his identity unveiled, Olatunde decides to reclaim his rightful place. He cleans up, dons regal attire, and returns to the village with Adéjoke by his side. The villagers are astounded. Aláìmọ, realizing her scheme inadvertently led to Adéjoke's elevation, is speechless. Olatunde addresses the crowd, sharing his journey and the lessons learned about love, humility, and true wealth. Olatunde and Adéjoke establish initiatives to uplift the village, building schools, providing health care, and supporting local businesses. Their story becomes a legend, teaching future generations about the importance of looking beyond appearances and valuing inner virtues. The village of Aláìmọ thrives, forever changed by the union of a misunderstood madman and a humble maiden. Olatunde and Adéjoke leave Aláìmọ for Lagos, where he plans to fully reclaim his family's business empire. The bustling highways and towering buildings of the city overwhelm Adéjoke, who has never left the village. Still, she clings Olatunde's hand, trusting him. He introduces her to a new life, elevators, smartphones, and boardrooms. For the first time, Adéjoke sees the world beyond the farms and red earth of Alara. Her eyes are wide with wonder and fear. Olatunde takes Adéjoke to a massive glass building labeled Olatunde Group. Inside, the atmosphere is electric. Phones ringing, secretaries typing, and meetings in progress. He reveals he owns a company but had been absent for years. Board members, thinking him long gone, are stunned. Adéjoke watches as he calmly reclaims control with documents and quiet authority. She sees the man beneath the madness, intelligent, strategic, and powerful. Though Olatunde reclaims a seat, not everyone welcomes Adéjoke. Some staff whisper, "Who is she? A villager?" Others mock her mannerisms. At an elite gathering, Adéjoke accidentally uses her hands to eat umla, drawing snickers. Embarrassed, she rushes to the restroom. Olatunde finds her there, tearful. He gently says, "Don't change for them. Let them rise to your authenticity." His words become her strength. Determined to fit in, Adéjoke enrolls in etiquette and public speaking classes. She learns fast, soon addressing crowds, hosting charity events, and winning the hearts of those who once mocked her. She starts a foundation to help women from rural areas gain education and confidence. Her journey from mock bride to admired leader amazes all. Lagos starts to embrace her, not just as Olatunde's wife, but as a visionary of her own. One board member, Chief Bamidele, sees Adejoke's rise as a threat. He once schemed to control Olatunde's empire in his absence, and now feels exposed. Secretly, he begins forging documents to sell company assets behind Olatunde's back. But Adejoke notices inconsistencies in financial reports. When she confronts him during a meeting, his mask slips. Tension builds. The village girl has become the lioness in the boardroom. Adejoke presents her findings to Olatunde, who convenes an emergency board meeting. With hard evidence, she lays out Chief Bamidele's betrayal in front of everyone. The room falls silent. Even those who doubted her look at her with newfound respect. Olatunde watches her with pride. His wife, once humiliated under a mango tree, now commanding the attention of city elites. Bamidele is removed from his position, his face full of shame as security escorts him out. After months in Lagos, Olatunde and Adejoke return to Aláìmọ. This time, they arrive in a convoy. Villagers rush out in awe, children dancing as the cars pull in. Adejoke walks through the same village square where her public humiliation happened. Now, the same people who mocked her bow in admiration. Margaret hides in her hut, ashamed. Olatunde builds a new school and hospital for the village, transforming its future with wealth and compassion. Margaret, wrinkled and weak, breaks down in tears when Adejoke visits her. "I was jealous," she whispers. "I didn't believe a girl like you could be loved." Adejoke holds her hand, saying softly, "You made me stronger." Despite her past cruelty, Adejoke pays for Margaret's medical treatment and gives her a caregiver. The villagers begin to see Adejoke not just as successful, but as kind-hearted and forgiving, qualities money can't buy. Ilara throws a festival in Olatunde and Adejoke's honor. Drummers play, dancers swirl, and the air is filled with jollof rice, amla, and palm wine. Chiefs bless the couple, calling them symbols of hope. Olatunde donates to build a tech hub for youth, while Adejoke sets up scholarships for village girls. What began as a mock wedding has become the foundation of movement, empowering, forgiving, and redefining love. In their Lagos penthouse, Olatunde and Adejoke sit on the balcony, watching the city lights. "Do you regret it?" she asks. He smiles, disguising as a madman led me to my queen. Their love is no longer questioned. It's written in the lives they've touched and the legacy they're building. As the night breeze wraps around them, it's clear that this story isn't just about wealth or revenge, but a love that began in pain and blossomed in grace. At the Ilara market, women gossip as they buy pepper and tomatoes. "You remember how they forced her to marry the madman?" One whispers. "That madman now owns half of Lagos." Another says. The tale of Olatunde and Adejoke becomes a market legend. Young girls are taught not to mock the broken, and young men speak of love with new respect. In the noise of bargaining and laughter, their love story becomes a living proverb passed from mouth to mouth. In Lagos, Olatunde expands his businesses, real estate, tech, and hospitality. Adejoke becomes a respected social entrepreneur. Together, they launch Ilara Foundation, helping women across Nigeria escape abuse and find purpose. The media calls them the royal couple of grace. Despite their wealth, they live modestly, always remembering the mango tree, the laughter, and the shame that turned into glory. Even in boardrooms, Olatunde still wears beads from his mother, grounding him in his roots. One night, Adejoke receives a letter from an old schoolmate who once mocked her. The woman is now a struggling widow. Adejoke visits her, brings food and offers her a job. "But why would you help me?" the woman asks, eyes wide with shame. "Because you once taught me how not to treat others," Adéjoke replies with a smile. Through tears, the woman hugs her, and another chapter of healing begins. Proof that kindness can echo louder than pain. Olatunde and Adéjoke are invited to the palace of the Uni of Ife for a royal banquet. The Uni praises their journey, calling them symbols of Yoruba resilience. Dressed in regal agbada and lace, they walk to the palace courtyard with pride, remembered not just for wealth, but for turning mockery into meaning. Young nobles ask Olatunde for wisdom. Queens to beseech Adéjoke's counsel. Their love becomes a modern folktale, respected across kingdoms. Back at the mango tree where it all began, Olatunde and Adéjoke hold hands as the sun sets. A small plaque now reads, "Here, love was tested and triumphed." Children play nearby, and young lovers sit beneath the shade. "Would you do it all again?" Adéjoke asks. Olatunde turns to her, eyes soft. "Even the madness, if it led me to you." The wind rustles the leaves, carrying with it the quiet laughter of fate fulfilled. The Ilara village declares a new annual festival, Iridi Festival, meaning hope. It's held every year under the mango tree, celebrating stories of transformation and second chances. Olatunde and Adéjoke are the first to light the ceremonial fire. As drums beat and dancers swirl in bright aoke, villagers who once laughed now kneel in honor. Olatunde speaks gently. "We are all broken at some point. What matters is who we become after." As Olatunde's influence grows, so does pressure. Corrupt politicians want to use his foundation for selfish agendas. When he refuses, he's falsely accused of fraud. Social media erupts. Some praise him, others doubt him. Adéjoke stands firm, holding his hand through it all. "Truth does not hide forever," she tells him. In court, Olatunde defends himself with dignity, and eventually he's cleared. His humility and wisdom win more hearts than his wealth ever did. In a serene Lagos hospital room filled with the scent of shea butter and prayers, Adéjoke gives birth to their first child, a baby boy named Ayodele, meaning joy has returned. The nurses smile as Olatunde tears up, cradling the tiny miracle. "You'll never know shame," he whispers. They hold a naming ceremony blending tradition and modernity. Elders chant, children dance, and the baby's forehead is gently rubbed with honey and palm oil, blessings for a sweet, strong life. Years later, Olatunde takes Adéjoke and Ayodele to the very hut he once lived in as a madman. Overgrown with vines, it still stands like a silent witness. "This is where I became invisible," he says, "but also where I saw clearly for the first time." Adéjoke kneels, places flowers by the doorway. Ayodele runs inside and laughs. "This was Baba's palace?" They all laugh. It's not shame anymore. It's sacred. It's part of their royal beginning. Inside the palace of the new Oba of Ilara, a grand painting is unveiled. It shows Olatunde in his rags beside Adéjoke in her wedding cloth, symbolizing humility and grace. The caption reads, "From shame to shine, the lovers who change Ilara." The crowd applauds. Even the Oba, once a skeptical prince, bows in respect. Tourists take pictures. But Olatunde and Adéjoke remain grounded. For them, it's not about fame. It's about purpose fulfilled. One fateful day, an aged woman arrives at Olatunde's gate, hunched, weak, and tired. It's a stepmother, Ibaronk, the same woman who publicly shamed him years ago. Time has humbled her. She falls to her knees, tears streaming. "Forgive me," she whispers. Adéjoke watches as Olatunde lifts her up and embraces her. "You helped shape me," he says. The lesson is powerful. Mercy does not erase memory, but it heals it. The household welcomes her with warmth. Adéjoke creates a healing garden in Alara. She grows herbs used by village healers, Euro, Ojid, and Doganyaro. She invites young girls and mothers to come learn and talk. This is not just a garden. She says, it is a place where women reclaim their voices. Stories are shared beneath the cashew tree, and laughter replaces sorrow. Olatunde smiles from afar, proud of the quiet strength his wife uses to rebuild the very village that once broke her. The Oba of Alara names Olatunde the Ajairidi, leader of hope, giving him a permanent seat on the royal council. Elders nod with respect as Olatunde offers advice rooted in humility, not pride. He proposes free education for orphan children and vocational training centers. The council is moved. You once walked the forest alone. The Oba says, now you guide us all. Olatunde bows low, dressed not in Igbada, but in simple buba, a reminder of where he began. During one dry season, the village suffers. Crops begin to wither. Olatunde calls the people together at the sacred grove and prays like his ancestors. That evening, thick clouds gather. Thunder roars. Rain pours heavily for hours. Elders call a miracle. Children dance in the water. Olatunde is favored by the spirits, they say. He only smiles. Beside him, Adéjoke whispers, even the sky knows your heart is clean. That night, the village sings his praise. Years later, Olatunde writes a book titled From Madness to Majesty. It becomes a bestseller across Africa. Universities invite him to speak, and documentaries are made about his journey. But he always starts every speech the same way. My name is Olatunde, son of shame, husband of hope, servant of the people. Adéjoke sits in the front row, always clapping the loudest. Together, they become more than a love story. They're a movement. Olatunde begins offering free leadership and life transformation seminars at the Alara Town Hall every week. Youths come in hundreds, some from as far as Ibadan and Akure. He teaches them about dignity, silent strength, and purpose. Ikeo tiakeo loembiwa. He says, the lessons we learn are what elevate us. Even local cultists begin to change. The town sees revival, not of noise, but of thought. Adéjoke manages the logistics and personally greets each attendee. Olatunde and Adéjoke build a center for orphans, widows, and the mentally challenged. They call it Aláìmọ, House of Hope. The building, bright with murals of African unity, is not just a shelter, but a home. Children are enrolled in school, widows trained in handcraft, and those once labeled mad are given therapy and love. One boy who never spoke now smiles daily. You build a kingdom from pain, Adéjoke tells him. He replies, we build it together. The village elders and community leaders unveil a bronze statue of Olatunde at the exact spot where he once wandered as a madman. It shows him clothed in rags, but with a golden crown on his head. The plaque reads, do not mock what you do not understand. Many cried during the unveiling, including Adéjoke, who recalls how their love began. The statue becomes a place of reflection for students, lovers, and dreamers who once gave up on themselves. Years later, Olatunde and Adéjoke have a daughter named Mornike. She is bold, curious, and graceful, dancing like her mother and thinking like her father. The entire town calls her Omoti Olatundebi, the child of the madman who became a king. At 5, she gives speeches at her father's seminars. Her favorite story is how her mother once stood by a man everyone mocked. Daddy was never mad, she says. He was just waiting for the right time. Olatunde is invited to speak at a global conference in Johannesburg. As he steps onto the stage, lights flashing and cameras rolling, he pauses and looks into the sky. Everything I am, he says, was once considered worthless. The crowd erupts in applause. The speech trends worldwide under the hashtag from mad to majesty. But afterward, he returns not to wealth, but to Alara, where he sits under the mango tree, with Adéjoke beside him, watching the sunset, where it all began. A wealthy man named Chief Awolowo, once an elder who laughed at Olatunde during his mad days, publicly apologizes. Ibo enti kuriesi, he says, I fell for judging too early. He donates land to expand Aláìmọ. In a powerful turn of events, Olatunde hugs him. We heal when truth is louder than pride. Olatunde says, and the whole village claps. It marks a new era of unity where even the elders learn from the younger generation. Olatunde and Adéjoke launch a scholarship fund called Ibon Bep, the Gift of Connection, for children born in poverty. Their aim, to prevent another child from growing up voiceless like Olatunde did. The first recipients are orphans, street hawkers, and children of the market women who once mocked Adéjoke. Each child is given a school uniform, sandals, and a tablet for learning. Knowledge, says Adéjoke, is the true inheritance our children need. Ilara now celebrates an annual festival called Ojo Ii Olatunde, Olatunde Celebration Day, where the entire town reenacts his journey from madness to majesty. The drama is performed by local students under the same mango tree. Adéjoke, now a respected matriarch, gives the opening speech each year. She ends her speech with, "Love does not fix people. It reveals them." It becomes a sacred day of hope, especially for the outcast, the dreamer, and the misunderstood. Olatunde writes a book titled Koko I, The Essence of Life. It details his journey and the invisible battles many face in silence. The book goes viral in African universities, translated into several languages. Students quote his words during protests and leadership forums. It reads, "I was once a voice without a mouth, until one woman chose to listen." The story of Ilara now becomes an African legend, taught in schools, heard in churches, and adapted into theater plays. In their twilight years, Olatunde and Adéjoke return to the same forest path where she first gave him bread. They walk hand in hand, gray-haired and smiling. "You never saved me," Olatunde whispers. "You simply saw me." She replies, "And that changed everything." They sit on a bench overlooking the town of Ilara, now a symbol of rebirth. Distant laughter echoes as children play. "I done a nigba to Dean." True joy is found at the end of the storm. Olatunde and Adéjoke are invited to speak at an international peace conference in Abuja. Their story has become a global inspiration for healing, compassion, and community transformation. When Olatunde steps onto the stage, the crowd gives a standing ovation. In his speech, he says, "There is no madness stronger than being unloved, and no medicine deeper than being seen." The moment becomes iconic. News outlets across Africa headline it as Ife to Adarunwa, a love that came from the heavens. Back in Ilara, a new tradition is born. Each year, couples in struggling relationships visit Aláìmọ to renew their vows under the mango tree where Olatunde and Adéjoke married. The house becomes a center for emotional healing and therapy, led by professionals trained in empathy and community restoration. The Madman's house now symbolizes the rebirth of homes, hope, and love. Children play freely, shouting, "Ife Itojuwa," let love be our medicine. Years later, Olatunde and Adéjoke adopt abandoned children. Their home becomes filled with laughter, stories, and songs. The children call him Babarir, good father, and call Adéjoke Aya Ao, mother of joy. Together, they raise thinkers, artists, and leaders. The once quiet mansion now bursts with life. Olatunde teaches them, never laugh at a man's silence. He may be watering the roots of his roar. Every child who grows under their roof carries a piece of their legacy. On a calm evening, Olatunde and Ajoke sit on their porch, watching the sun set over Alara. Their fingers, wrinkled yet strong, remain interlocked. You remember when they called you mad? Ajoke smiles. Olatunde chuckles. Loma Joe knife. Perhaps madness is what love looks like when misunderstood. Their story doesn't end in death, but in legacy. For even when the sun sets, the warmth remains. In one DLA, their story becomes living legend. And that brings us to the end of this unforgettable journey of Olatunde and Ajoke, two souls bound by fate, not fear. If this story touched your heart, inspired your soul, or even brought a tear to your eye, don't leave without showing love back. Tap the subscribe button if you haven't already. Like this video to support powerful African storytelling at Echoes Africa Stories. Drop a comment. We'd love to hear what you felt the most. Share this story with someone who still believes in love, healing, and second chances.